So we've had one Sunday already, and then this is the second. And Jennifer called me up and she said, would you do one of our testimonies? And I said, sure, no problem. Which one can I do? Now, a few years ago, and I'm still a little bit nervous, but a few years ago I would have said, are you kidding me? Get up in front of me. Oh, no, I can't do that. But guess what? Here I am. And I'm going to do the very best I can to make sense of all of this. I didn't write any notes. I'm just winging it. I'm going with God and His Spirit. I know it's in my heart, and I just hope I bring that to you as powerfully as it affected me. And already, thinking about my walk on the desert, yes, that's where my walk was, I'm getting a little warm, so I'm taking this off. Okay, excuse me just a second. Okay, that's better. After losing my husband, Ron, I found that God never, He says it, Christ says it, the scriptures reek with it, that God never leaves or forsakes you. However, sometimes in your deepest moments, that comes to test. And I found it to be absolutely true. That the days that I was so weak, I didn't think I could even put one foot on the ground, Christ was there, cradling me, holding me. I was at a point that I couldn't even pray. I couldn't even put words together to form a prayer. But Christ said, it's okay, I got you. And at some point in all of this, because as you know, Ron's passing was a shock. It wasn't something that we had prepared for. He was doing very well after his surgery. So in addition to having the loss, it was a shock, and it changed my life instantly. So there was a lot going on. And at any rate, I'm not going to dwell on that part because I know where Ron is. And I know that God has him totally wrapped in His arms. But during this time, at some point when I was at, I think, my very weakest, and I thought, Lord, forgive me, I can't even pray to you. I don't even know what to say, what to do at this point in my life. A song came on the radio that said, Just Be Held. And that song, if you haven't heard it, look it up, listen to it, believe wholeheartedly in it, because it is absolutely true. God will hold you for those moments. Now, that's part of the story. The rest of the story was, at some point in time, now this was probably a good month or so after Ron's passing, after hearing his song. I was having a sort of a slumpy day, and I was sitting in the living room, and I was trying to pray, and I was saying to God, I just want some normalcy. I just want to get better. I want this to be okay. And He said, put your feet in the sand. And immediately I thought of the prayer, 2 feet, what is it? It just went out of my mind. Jennifer? Footprints in the sand. Thank you. See, I should have written a note for that. But that's the only thing I need that for. Footprints in the sand. And that's where my mind went. And I said, oh yeah, you're tired of carrying me. Well, that wasn't actually true, because we know that God never gets tired of you. But He may have been saying to me, it's time for you to walk. Now, I'm here to strengthen you, and I'm here right beside you, and I'm going to hang on to you as you do this walk. But you need to put your feet in the sand. Okay, so guess what? I didn't do it. I couldn't do it. Still too weak. Couldn't do it. Tried to, wanted to, couldn't do it. And then I had an invitation from Shirley and Sandy to go to Arizona. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'll fly to Arizona. It would be a good change. Never been there. Their brother lived there, has a nice home on the desert. Not near it, not around it, on the desert. He even has a wall to keep the desert out of his backyard, which doesn't always work. He had a rattlesnake on his porch. Not one was there. But he has scorpions sometimes that visit. The coyotes sometimes get in there. We did have a bunny. That wasn't threatening at all. But a little jackrabbit hopped in when he had the gate open. Didn't scale the wall, but he did get in there. So I was looking forward to that, and it was a great trip. We had a wonderful time. But before I left, I had my hair cut, and my hairdresser said, when you go to Arizona, bring me a rock. And I said, they have all kinds of stuff in Arizona that you might like. You want me to bring you a rock? And he said, yeah, bring me a rock. So I said, okay, I can do that. I'll make sure I do that. When I get to Arizona, I get to Jim's house, and his whole yard is rocks. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is easy. I'll just pick up anything right here. And I kept hearing this voice, no, go to the desert for that rock. And I'm thinking, yeah, they have a wall here, that keeps you out of the desert. They have plenty of rocks here. Why am I going to the desert to get a rock? This voice kept saying, go to the desert for a rock. And I thought, well, you know what? That's probably what I'm supposed to do. Because if I just say I brought a rock from his yard, that's not really from the earth, although it probably was moved there. I'm making all kinds of excuses why I should just pick one up in the yard. But I kept feeling this urgent need to get into the desert and pick up a rock. So I toyed with that idea for the whole week we were there. And the day before we left, I said, Jim, am I going to be taking my life in my hands if I go into the desert today? And he said, just be careful. There's rattlesnakes. And I'm going, yeah, there's rattlesnakes. And he said, there's scorpions. Yeah, I know that. Didn't think about the coyotes. Nobody mentioned the coyotes or anything like that, which I didn't run into, but except we were safe pretty much because Sandy, who, bless her heart, has been wanting to see a coyote all of her life, that she's gone and in her visits to Jim has never seen one. They go away. It's, oh, Sandy's here, we're going to leave. So anyway, so he said, no, just be careful, and this, that, and the other thing. And I said, okay. So I said, well, I'm going to put on my tennis shoes, and I put on my tennis shoes, and I walked around the wall and down a little ways, and I went up to this little incline, and I'm sort of, tapping, like, putting my foot where the rocks won't just kind of landslide. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, okay, this is good. I'll get a rock here. There's a good one over here. I'll pick this one up. And, yeah, that's a good one there. And I turned to come back, and Jim's going, I'm going to show you a path. There's a path you can go, and you can walk on this little path on the desert. And I'm going, oh, no, that's okay. And he said, no, I'll show you where it is. I can't go with you because I've got to make an important phone call, but, here's this little path over here. Well, being a good guest, and not want to offend my host, I go, okay, sure, no problem. So I went over to the path, and he showed me how to get there, and then he leaves, so I'm there by myself. Well, number one, I didn't have any water with me. 98 degrees, no water. Didn't have my cell phone, not a good idea. But I had God. I didn't know that at the time, but I had God. So I get on the path, and I'm walking along, and I am scared to death that a rattlesnake is going to, or many rattlesnakes are going to come out and bite me. So I am walking along, and finally I just said, wait a minute. Who owns these rattlesnakes? God owns these rattlesnakes. So I said a very quick, very powerful prayer. Lord, these are your snakes. If they're around, make them go the other direction. If they're around, make sure they don't bite my leg or my arm, or, I didn't have my camera. It would have been nice to have a picture of one from a real good distance. So anyway, I prayed, and all of a sudden, this calmness came over me. Fear had completely gone away. Caution didn't, but fear did. So as I was walking, I started taking photographs of this beautiful, now this very beautiful area that is no longer scary to me. So I'm walking along, and I'm taking all these pictures, and it was just, I can't even explain, I wish I had enough adjectives to explain the feeling of feeling Christ next to me. My mind went to where he was on earth, on the desert, walking many miles. I wasn't going that far, but many miles on rugged terrain. And guess what? Sandy terrain. God had been calling walk with him in the sand on the desert. He didn't mean put my feet in the sand on the beach like the poem said. He was saying, come to me, trust me. Let me have those moments with you so that you can know I can be trusted. That you know how much I care for you, how much I desire to be with you alone. And it was amazing. It was amazing. It was a beautiful day. I took a lot of pictures. And as I came down the slope, as I often do, there was a little, slope. I wasn't in the mountains, which were behind, but I was on kind of rugged area that was a little bit slopey. And as I often do when I'm taking pictures, I turned around to see what I had just left. And I went, oh, wow, there's a great picture there. There's a beautiful picture. I could just stop. I want to go back up there. And God said, no, you're not going back up there. And I was thinking, yeah, I'm going back. I'm going to go back up there. And God kept saying, no, you're done. Turn around and go home. It was at that point I realized how dry my mouth was, how parched my lips were. God's timing was perfect. He gave me enough of a walk with him to say, you got the point. Now, you pick up yourself. I have plans for you. Your life didn't end when I'm passed. Your life is going to continue. He did what I wanted him to do while he was here. Well done, good and faithful servant to him. But I'm not finished with you yet. Now, do I have ups and downs? Absolutely. But do I have God standing right there with me? Absolutely. He's there. So, when I got back, Sandy, it's funny now, maybe not so funny there, but Sandy was in the driveway, standing in the garage door that was raised, and she's going, oh, thank God, we've been calling you. You don't have any water. We've been calling you. And I went, yeah, your face is so red. I went, oh, my goodness, it is. And I grabbed a couple of bottles of water and kind of swirled those down, rehydrated a little bit. But the walk itself was purposeful. I didn't have water, but God filled me with moisture. He filled me with his living water. He supplied that for me. He even told me, no, you're not going any further because your frail human body can't take it. It's 98 degrees here, or 96, somewhere around there. And you're on the desert and your frail body can't go. If you go back over that hill, you're going to dehydrate. You're going to be flat as a pancake, and then they are going to have something to worry about. Didn't have the phone. He didn't want any distractions. God said, no, don't even think about it. Just, I'm calling you to the desert, you go. The rock, as I was told later, didn't make the connection at the time, but when I was relating the story to Pastor and to Paula, they kept saying, you were searching for a rock? A rock? Yeah. Jesus Christ is the rock of my salvation. And I searched. I had 2 pockets full, by the way. But the one that was most important was the one that I shared with all. Amen.